Another day, more internet controversy, more censorship, and yes, yet another member of the anime industry deciding to essentially shut things down on their social media account. This time, ReZero Season 3 character designer and chief animation director Haruka Sagawa has decided to step away from the internet, shut things down a little bit, well, at least lock things down so they can keep a positive attitude and not see all of the outrage about the changes that were made in ReZero Season 3. Now, I watched the trailer for Season 3. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was incredible, looked great. Yes, about the only thing that I noticed that was a little bit off, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that Amelia's looking a little, she got a little buffed. And I didn't really think of anything. I kind of moved on with my life. Now, yes, later on, I did see a lot of people making comments about them censoring the petite characters, putting a little bit more clothes on them and whatnot. My immediate response to that was, yeah, they're probably trying to meet standards for a global release. That makes sense. I'm not talking about United States. There's places like China, places like Australia that don't like petite characters. They're not going to be able to broadcast there if they do that. And I kind of just went on with my life. But then I ran into some tweets this morning, and I thought, well, I might as well head this one off. Because I can already see the outrage kind of happening, and I might as well talk about it now. Because I'm sure come whenever it broadcasts, people are going to say that Crunchyroll censored it. So yeah, let's start off where things began. With the original announcement of Haruka saying that they are the character designer and supervising the production for the actual series. They tweeted out saying, I am pleased to announce that I will be in charge of character designs and supervising the production of the TV anime ReZero Season 3. We are working hard to make it enjoyable for both fans of the series and newcomers to the series. Thank you very much for your cooperations. Really great little tweet there. Had some character art there. Looked fantastic. Super happy. Everybody replying to it. Well, most people replying to it. Very positive. They're saying we support you. Great job. Keep up the great work. Can't wait to see it. It looks fantastic. All that kind of stuff. Yes. Yes. Sprinkled throughout that were some negative comments. There was some negative comments sprinkled throughout there. One person saying, is it necessary to censor the character designs? I want to be true to the original character designs. We had, thank you for so much for your work, but please reduce Emilia's bust size. It doesn't suit her character. I think most of the replies, because I was looking for the controversy. I'm hearing people talk about how they were harassed off the internet. There was so many thousands of tweets. Like, people are making this out to be huge. I'm not really seeing it unless they were blocked or deleted or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it continuing. Thank you for censoring some of the awkward characters while also buffing our girl Emilia. Please reduce Emilia's bust. You are a loser. Why do you enlarge my daughter's chest? Stop giving Emilia cow bleeps, you bastards. Emilia's breast size gotten bigger, haven't they? Aren't they a little more modest in the original? Again, it seems like most is like Emilia. But yeah, I think this is probably going to be one of those cases, and I'm going to get more into their reply, the response, them shutting down, and what actually is happening. But I think this is one of those cases where I think for this creator, for Haruka Sagawa, this is too much. And that's fine. I think it's nice they see it coming, and they're like, okay, cut it off here. I'm going to shut this off because I don't want it to affect me. It's good. Please do that. Any creator out there, a content creator, a public figure, someone that's working on a high-scale production, something that's got a lot of attention or popularity, be ready to shut it off because it's not worth it. It's not worth it to let it, you see it. You have those tools at your disposal to cut it off, and it's necessary. I think in a lot of cases, I laugh at this stuff because I'm used to it. I'm used to the stupidity of the internet. I'm used to people being a little bit too heavy-handed. I had one the other day. Somebody was pointing out a comment on my YouTube channel. I'm like, just hide them from the channel. Like, I don't really care. I don't need to see it. I do appreciate the people that support this channel. I really do. Thank you so much. It means so freaking much to me. Me being able to do this means a great deal to me. But if I see somebody coming at me that is just kind of, there's no reasoning with them, there's no point. Take off the channel. It's fine. We'll move. Everybody else, we're going to move forward. Let's all move forward and have fun, because it's not worth my time to direct it at this issue right here that's obviously unreasonable. Anyways, that aside, there is a side of me that I believe that in cases like this, I think people make it out to be a lot more than it actually is. Again, I think there is a possibility this person has very thin skin, and that's perfectly fine. Again, these people have no right to be able to harass them. They have no obligation to accept that harassment. So if they want to cut off early, that's fine. But I do think there's a lot of people that are trying to make this out into something bigger. I see this a lot, and this is why I don't cover many outrage moments, or what, as I call them, controversies, is where I see like somebody saying, my gosh, people are losing their minds about this. Twitter is outraged about this or whatever. And then I actually look into it, and it's like, it's not that many. Like, I'm looking again through all their posts, and there's not that many. And I think a lot of people it's like the pie chart. And this little small sliver of the pie chart is what's actually happening. Like, yes, some person made a really dumb comment here. And then the rest of this pie chart is everybody saying how it's crazy that this is happening. And they make it into this massive thing, and essentially worse than it originally was. There is the outrage of the outrage that sometimes makes it worse. But putting that aside, let's get into their actual response and why they left. They basically privated down their account, so that people basically made it to where people can't reply and stuff. They can still quote retweet. It says, I have been somewhat prepared for this, but I'm not mentally strong enough. I may close my message box to advertisements in order to keep positive attitude towards my work. I will read your comments on the quotations. Thank you very much for your encouraging words. Again, they're kind of just locking it down. You can still quote retweet. It seems like they're still even looking at that. So again, I think they're fine. They're not in a bad state, because they could have easily just privated their account, shut it down completely. But they're at least saying, hey, you can still quote this, and I'll read them. But I think they're kind of just trying to they're trying to dampen it down a little bit, so that they can choose when they want to see something, and not have anybody else, I guess, see where people are being malicious to them, which is also another thing that's kind of a side effect. Even though you don't look at it, I have a lot of people like that. If I miss a comment in one of my tweets or something like that, somebody else will say, holy crap, did you see what they said in your replies? In some cases, it's Twitter like automatically blocking it, because Twitter knows that it's going to be like some malicious person. And it's like, oh no, I didn't see it. It's affecting them because they're concerned for me. So there is kind of a side product to this whole issue, and a decision to make it privated like this, or locked down like this. So again, I fully support them locking things down. I hope them good. I wish them well. They don't deserve it. They don't owe anybody to listen to them. And the key thing is here, it's not their decision. I know, shocking, right? It's not their decision. This is not Haruka Sagawa's decision to make these changes. To buff Emilia, or to nerf the petite characters, to censor the petite characters. Because and I'm glad they're actually being very clear about this. We rarely get this kind of stuff. They're very clear about this. They tweeted later on saying, it's not limited to ReZero, but in order to reach as many people as possible, each country has its own broadcast code. And in order to reach as many people as possible, the field is doing its best to deliver the best possible product under the many restrictions. They're saying there is broadcast codes that we have to go by. And in order to meet those broadcast codes and be able to distribute over there, we have to make changes. Again, what I say earlier, when I first seen this whole thing, when I first seen these petite characters that were changed, that was my immediate response. Oh, yeah, global audience, restrictions, makes sense, move on. But it's sad that I think a lot of people don't seem to understand that. And I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I agree with a lot of people that are upset about this. I don't think their anger and hatred directed towards this person is a good thing. It should not happen. Again, this is not their decision. This is the production committee. This is the publishers. That's their decision. The people that have the money, the people that are making this happen, that's their decision. They basically probably told them, change this design, and this design is not going to work in this country, and we want to broadcast it there. Okay. How's that look? Yeah, that'll work. That'll fit, and it looks good. Do it. That's it. Go for it. That's what happened. It's not the decision. It's higher ups. So definitely don't be going after this project. And I would even argue it's hard to say to go after the ones that made the decision, because again, these are laws. That's the problem. These are laws. They're talking about broadcasting codes. That's something that's restricted. Now, yes, I do agree that you could do something like Onimai. Again, Onimai had the same situation. And Buying was very perfectly clear about this. This is the decision of the higher ups. In order for us to broadcast this in all these regions, we have to make changes. So, for them, they made a Japanese version, and there was elsewhere that had it as well, and they had a global version. And each different country had different versions. Most of them had global versions. Even Crunchyroll had the global version. And what that was really doing was, okay, we made the one where it's not censored. We can just do whatever we want. And then everybody else, we're going to try to fit within these codes that's going to be required for this. Because yes, Onimai does have very young-looking characters. So obviously they're going to have to meet these standards. And it's a sad reality. I wish with ReZero they would have a Japanese version and a global version. But that costs a lot of money. Vine did it, and a lot of that was just them kind of cutting scenes. But when you have a lot of things and dialogue and stuff happening with these characters that are going to be censored the whole time, they can't really do that. They would literally have to cut the characters completely, these characters that were censored, completely out of the show. It just can't happen. And they're not going to make two versions because that would be way too much money. So their option here is just to change it for everyone. Again, it sucks. I don't like it, but that is just the product of this stuff becoming more global. And I mentioned this in my video talking about how I don't want anime to get more popular. I don't want anime popular. I made a video on this. One of my points that I made was the more anime gets more popular, the more of a desire for it is to be global, the more desire for it to be in as many countries as possible. And yes, that means it's going to be in a lot of countries that are a lot more restrictive than really any other country. We're talking China. We're talking even, I think Australia. I think they blocked a lot of things like No Game No Life, a lot of petite, more younger characters. I think No Game No Life was one of them. They were blocking a lot of imports that were depicting young characters. They made those laws. They made those restrictions. I'm not fully knowledgeable in that, so look it up yourself. Don't take my word for it. But I think I've heard several times about that. I think there was a publisher that was talking about that. But anyways, that aside, there is countries that will have laws against certain things. It's like the whole thing with the manji symbol. Why is the manji symbol in Revengers banned? Because there's countries where, yes, they view the manji symbol as a different symbol that is literally banned there. I hate that because the manji symbol does not mean that. And that's literally feeding into their perversion of it, that symbol. But that's unfortunately what it is. And that's what they were trying to cover their base for. And that's the same thing here. This is not censorship in a sense that a lot of people believe, in the idea of, oh my gosh, you don't like seeing this. No, your country has laws against it. Your broadcast has laws against it. Certain countries have restrictions. And as anime gets more popular, as they see more money in it, as these global audiences and these global licensors want this stuff, it's going to have to be restricted so that it can play ball with everybody. And that's the sucky thing. And again, it's not this person's decision. And yeah, I cannot wait for the comments to be about how Crunchyroll did it. It's sad, because I think with the restrictions in play, I think the characters look great. I think the designs they chose to do in order to fit that standard, they look great. And again, I'm super excited for the series. I'm going to watch it. I'm not that bothered by it. I wish it didn't happen, but that's unfortunately the state we are in right now. And there's not really much pushing back. And I think it comes down to one of those things where it's not so much an aspect of people have no right to be outraged. I think it's more of an idea of people need to direct their outrage properly. Key thing there. This is just like I keep saying about things like with the whole Crunchyroll, basically deleting Funimation and the sub cost increases. And it's like, you guys are aiming your hatred and outrage at something that doesn't even exist versus what's actually happening that is very anti-consumer. You're looking away from things like them taking away digital catalogs that people paid for and whatnot versus something that didn't even exist. Focus your attention to what actually matters, who's in charge, rather than these people that have nothing to do with it. Celebrate with this person. Don't destroy them over nothing. And again, don't make something out to be what it's not actually is. So, if that makes any sense. Don't make things, don't blow things up out of proportion of what it actually is. But anyways, thought I'd get ahead in here and kind of head this off before it's obvious going to go into Crunchyroll censoring everything. But we'll see. We'll see. And yes, and Amelia needs to have a little bit of a downgrade. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, hope you found it informative. If you like this content, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super links, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate it. Support the channel. It means so much to me. And y'all take care.